Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ, near the end of the Gospel according to St. John, gave at last his last commandment, that we love one another. In John he said, "A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that they are my disciples." Again in John 15:12 he said, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." How did he love us? Personally, yes, in the sense that he loved and forever loves each one of us for who we are, and not abstractly. But impersonally also, in the sense that the Christ, the divine consciousness, is not conscious of itself as separate from us. He loves us not only for, but as our very self. His love is a manifestation of infinity, loving us as expressions of infinity. He does not see us as we see ourselves. He forever sees us in our divine potential. Paramahansa Yogananda made a very similar statement to the monks very shortly before his own departure from his body. Respect one another as I respect you. His use of the word respect instead of love was deliberate. He wanted to emphasize for them the importance of impersonal love and friendship from God, for God. Worldly people do not understand that in impersonal love there is a much deeper love than exists in personal love. Impersonal love is expansive, not contractive. One day the master was going for an outing, and the monks were helping him into his car. Yogananda had been having difficulty with his knees. He remarked, "You are all so kind to me with your many attentions." "Oh, sir," they replied, "it is your kindness to which we respond." The master smiled sweetly. "God is helping God," he said. "That's his drama." The second commandment Jesus quoted from the ancient scriptures, "Love thy neighbor as thyself," explains what he meant by his new and last commandment. We should, he said, love all as reflections of our very self. Thus, Paramahansa Yogananda also said, "When I am gone, only love can take my place." The Bhagavad Gita describes a dialogue between Krishna and his disciple Arjuna. Thus, the other disciples are not part of the scene. The dialogue is internal and symbolizes the dialogue between the soul and God. Yet in it, Sri Krishna describes the way to supreme wisdom and supreme love. The serene self, being one with Brahman, neither grieves nor yearns. The same to all, he attains supreme devotion to me. That sameness toward all is the manifestation of pure love, impersonal in the sense of selfless. By that love, one attains supreme love for God alone. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
arrived to the end of the year in a few hours. How was this year? Good. It was an interesting year under many aspects. You know, I was reading a newspaper the other day, and it was written in big letters, Annus Horribilis. I was looking at the pictures, and actually many things happened this year. It seems that there is a revolution in action at an energetic level, like of an old energy that is still linked to money, and there is a spiritual energy that is activating itself, and this old energy is in some way conditioning us, because we can see what is happening outside and what is happening inside. When something happens in Africa, something happens inside of us, because we are all connected with a thin thread with everything that is happening around us. But it's also the contrary. If we are together with many people that are meditating and that are doing their spiritual research, there is an exchange of energy, a divine exchange of divine energy that can really transform the world. We find ourselves in the end of a year that is very important, because this year we can make a promise, the promise of what will next year be. Since I was a young boy, the 31st of December is the 1st of January is down here. I don't know if it happens to you. The night of the 31st of December, something magical happens. We do this whole path, and in that moment we actually can program our life for 2018. If we program in a firm way what we really want to do and what we want to be, what we want to become in 2018, it will become true. If we do it with a strong energy, this will happen. You know, God does not look at the world with our eyes. When something is not working, we know that behind there is the spiritual growth. God is interested in the spiritual growth. So it's the contrary. When everything is working, God probably is not so happy, because no one is thinking about him. Or when things are not working, health problems, family problems, work problems, many problems, the world is constructed to create problems. It's not built to be in peace. That's in another world. When we are here and we come here, it's to grow. And if we would be all the same, we would not learn anything one with others. And it's the diversity that creates small problems. And God says, good. Now, things are not going so well, so people will start thinking about me. And actually, that's what happens. God is waiting for us with an open heart. But do you think he leaves us alone in this? No. You know, like Greek masters, like Yogananda, when they came, they had difficulty. An avatar that comes to this world, and even for him, things do not work. We are not avatars, and so many things do not work. It's not that they're not right. It's just that they don't go as we would like them to go. In any case, at the end of Yogananda's life, he was sitting with a friend, a doctor, and the doctor asks, Master, in this life I know you for many years now, and many things have gone good and some things have not gone good. I've never seen you without courage or lost centeredness. You've never lost the will to restart, to start once again. has this been important for you? And in Yogananda answered, my dear, blessed is the life of who is trialed by God. Many times these difficulties have actually created the bridge between the message of East and West. This message will bring the freedom in God of this planet. We are just at the beginning of this. We have just started. Yogananda was alive just not many years ago. Yogananda gave a message, and we have had the blessing of receiving this message from a direct disciple of Yogananda, Swami Kriyananda. And when we receive these messages, if we have the right willpower and the desire to put in practice these teachings, this will transform our life every day, little by little, and we will feel how something expands in us. Someone looks at you and says, you are not the same. I don't recognize you. If actually he does not recognize us, but he recognizes the masters that are transforming us slowly. This is the beauty of having a spiritual path. Every day we change a little bit. You know, in when Christ was born in that little hut, there was a cow and an ox, and the ox had, not the ox, the donkey had some brothers that took flour to Bethlehem with very big bags of flour, and they were walking and they saw a light. They said, what is that light? It could be that our brother is there. And so these donkeys went looking for that light and looking for their brother, and they asked their brother, who is this little boy that is born here in this manger? We cannot understand this light. Where is it coming from? And they said, what can we do? You should ask for a wish, and you will see that this little baby will help you. So they have to take that flour. It's late. And so one of these donkeys says, what have you wished? And this one was very tired. And he says, I asked that I did not want this weight on my back. And the other donkey said, I actually asked to have the strength to take this bag of flour in my back. And this is what Master asks us. Ask for the strength, because Master takes away many things. His infinite love takes away many things that we have not done right. For example, we come into our house without shoes, and we hit our little toe on a piece of furniture. And what happens? It's strong pain, anger, and the wife says, it's always been here. You've always had it here. Why did you hit against it? And all of this pain, you don't know that you should have broken your leg, but you actually just hit a little toe. Master says, live in gratefulness. You do not know behind you how many angels and how many miracles are happening, because they don't happen in front of our eyes because we don't see them. But miracles happen. And when these miracles happen, we must be grateful for everything. Everything that happens in our life is much smaller than what could have happened, because in other lives we have been terrible, we have been naughty, but it doesn't matter. Everything has a positive solution. These solutions come every time, every moment in our life. In this moment, there's a great transformation. And these miracles happen if we want them or not, if we ask for them or not. You see, there is people that want to change the life and the world. People that search for centeredness. Actually, the only place where we can be centered is inside. The rest does not work. We can work a lot, we can put a lot of energy, but we'll be very tired and it will not work. We actually have to find the center inside of us, and it will be the only center that will be motionless in the midst of all the terrible things that are happening in this planet. I have had the blessing of being close to Swami in an important moment. He had been operated to the heart. The valve of the heart had been changed, and he needed to have medicine, to have a fluid blood for the working of this new valve. And one day he made a mistake with the dosage of the medicine that he used to take. And one day he had taken too much medicine, and so his back and his arms were completely black. So we called his doctor in Perugia and we said, there is something that is happening, what can we do? And they said, take him immediately to the hospital, because with a fluid blood like that, it's very dangerous. So we took him to the hospital, and after these exams, they said he has to stay here for 3 days because we have to slowly come back to a right fluidity. And they said, but there we have a problem. There's no place for him to sleep. He can only sleep on a chair in the corridor. And he was not well. He was not feeling well. So I asked, isn't there a place where we can put him to sleep? And they said, yes, there is a little warehouse where we have some beds. So he said, okay, well, we can go there into this little warehouse. And people would come and take his blood. And we were there in this little room. And he was tired. He would fall asleep. But he would smile when someone would come to get something from the warehouse. It was a very interesting night. And at one point I said, you sleep. I will sit here so that if you fall from the little bed where you are, I don't want you to fall. So I would hold him, and he fell asleep. After a few hours, I feel his hand on my arm. I had fallen asleep, and he was sitting on the little bed and he was holding my arm. And so when I realized, I said, oh, Swami, sorry. I'm so sorry. And he said the same thing that Yogananda said. God is helping God with such an incredible love, a deep love. I have never seen eyes, so blessed eyes. In that moment, it was like Yogananda. We started laughing. I did not fall, and he did not fall. And then, after a few days, he was well. When you find people that have lived with Yogananda in the everyday life and his teachings, there are no words to express what happens. There is an aperture of the heart, an expansion, a love that has no boundaries. And day by day, this love continues to expand, and it's not controllable. This is the love that great masters have come to teach us. A love that has no boundaries. If we love someone this way, we will elevate the people that are around us. This is why in this reading, the personal love expands without limit. Someone has told me that this universe is expanding 3,000 kilometers a second. I don't know if this love is so fast, but underneath I think that the glue of the atoms of this universe is love. The glue of the atoms in our body is love. And we do not realize that, how much love exists and how much love we lose if we don't realize this. Slowly we will understand. One day, a man was walking with a penguin with, how do you say, a leash. And he asks a policeman, "Where can I take this penguin?" And the policeman says, "Take him to the zoo." And the next day, this policeman sees him again with the penguin, and he says, "But didn't you take him to the zoo?" Yes, I took him, and he had a lot of fun. Today he wanted to go to the park, so I'm in the park. Each one of us, we all have one or two penguins around each other, and these penguins have a name and a last name. The name is Desire and the last name is Ego, and these penguins have us do whatever they want. Sometimes our penguin, Desire penguin, can be called iPhone or house or holiday. And these penguins take us through this planet for many years, until one day we will put him in a zoo and leave him there. But we need time for that, and masters know that. Masters arrive to tell us, inside of your heart, there is no space for ego and for God. If God comes in, ego and desires have to leave. There is no space for both of these realities. So when we have God in us, a little ego can come up, because underneath the ego is a blessing. If we really want to buy a new iPhone and we don't have the money, what do? We start to work a little bit more. 1,000 euros for an iPhone, but day after day we will manage to arrive to that money, to get that money. What does the ego do? He has us buy the iPhone. That is not the best, but it's not so bad. But the other important thing is that he actually made us bring out more energy. To find God, we need to bring out more energy. And the end of the story is that the ego has us going around, because he wants to be satisfied. But at the end, the only desire that we will have is the desire for God. And in that moment, the ego disappears and God comes inside us. And with God, his love. This is very, very important. But don't think to give too much space to the ego, because he is very clever. Use your ego, because the ego makes you draw out a lot of energy. And that energy is divine. It's not really what we eat that gives us energy. It's actually what we receive and perceive from the universe. That's the true and real energy, the right energy. If we are laying down in our house, we have had a tough day of work and a a phone call comes from a friend and he tells you, come on, let's go have a pizza. You have not eaten anything, but in that moment you draw cosmic energy. And if you say yes, then the cosmic energy will fill you with the right energy to be able to be there for the whole night. If you say no, you will stay on your bed. Say yes to life and to everything that happens, and we will be full of energy, of divine energy, and there will not be food that can relate to that. We will only have life and love that gives us energy. To end, I want to tell a story. In a store of a jewelry store, a little girl is looking through the window, and she says, "Oh." And the jeweler says, "Who is this little girl?" And this little girl, 6 years old, says, "Oh, I've seen this beautiful chain, necklace. Can you please make a package for me? I want to give it." And he says, "Do you know how much it costs?" And she says, "No, I don't know how much it costs, but tomorrow it's Christmas, and since my mom died, my older sister, she does so much for me and my little brother, and she never has time for herself. And I would really like to give her this beautiful necklace that is turquoise, just like her eyes, and she will be so happy to receive it." So the jeweler says, he's so touched by the love of this little girl to the sister. He asks her, "How much money do you have?" And she opens a little box, and she has some coins and some other things, a shell. And so the jeweler just takes the necklace and prepares a beautiful package with a nice bow and tells the little girl, "Take it to your sister and be careful not to lose it, and tell her that to have a happy Christmas." So the little girl is so happy, and she goes home, and after a few hours, a beautiful girl with blonde hair and turquoise eyes comes with this little package and tells the jeweler, "Is this yours? My sister bought this from you." And he says, "Yes, but my sister did not have the money. How much was this?" And the jeweler says, The price is confidential, is between me and my client, and I cannot tell you." Anyway, I want to tell you something. Your sister paid with everything she had. She didn't keep anything for herself, just to give you this gift. And so he remade the package, and he said, "Go home and have a good Christmas." When we give this love to others, this comes back to us. Nothing that is given or done will end. Everything is connected to an action. There is when we love, we will receive love, because we have to give love. We can't keep it for ourselves. There is no biggest selfishness than not giving love. What we have not given is lost, and it will not come back. So what do you want to say for 2018? Should we do this promise? Try to love others and donate ourselves to others. It can be close, people that are close to us, or people that are far from us, because this is how transformation happens, when we become one with God, and this infinite love will come to us and will never leave us. Have a happy 2018. Oh, before I want to read two words on love that Yogananda wrote. The biggest love is in the communion with God during meditation. The love between the soul and the perfect spirit is the love that you are all seeking for. And when you meditate, love is more and more intense. Infinite beats of love are in your body, in your heart. If you meditate in deeply, you will be permeated by such an incredible feeling of love that no human word will describe, and you will know the divine love, and you will be able to love others with the same love. Good, happy 2018 to you all.
Yeah.